I've been following his journey for quite some time now, and he continues to blow me away because I personally have not really come across very many people who are special in terms of both talent as well as raw speed, which enables them to dominate both on the MX track as well as road racing. And Sarthak Chavan is the only guy right now, only Indian to win in the recently held Supercross Racing Championship in India. And he's also the only Indian to be on podium on the ongoing TVS One Make Championship as a part of Asia Road Racing Championship. So, an absolute pleasure to have you here, Sarthak. How did it all start? When was the very first time that you actually started racing?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. So I started racing at the age of 4. My father and my uncle were into racing, and I just got inspired by them. My father bought me a Chinese motorcycle on which I used to practice on. And then later, I just loved doing what I was doing. And then it just started from there. And then at the age of 6, I went into racing a motorcycle.
Wait, so you started racing at the age of 6?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, please continue.
But I rode a motorcycle when I was 4.
Wow. And this was a MX bike, like a small...
Yes, a small motocross bike.
Okay.
50cc engine.
Okay.
And then later, I still raced a 50cc in the national championships.
When you were 6?
Yes, when I was 6, I started racing.
Okay.
And then maybe at the age of 12 or 11, I thought of taking it as a profession.
Okay. But why MX? Why motocross?
So, I feel motocross is the base for any two-wheeler motorsport.
Okay.
And motocross teaches a lot of things, and it being a family background, I chose motocross as the first step to get into racing.
So your father, your uncle you mentioned, right?
Yes.
They were all motocross.
Yeah. So my father used to build motorcycles and my uncle used to race.
Ah, okay.
So
they were a dream team, huh?
yes, right.
Nice.
And looking at them was such a good inspiration.
Okay. Okay. So you obviously had a lot of success in motocross. That was your foray into racing. You made quite an impact. And then you decided to switch to road racing. Why?
So after I won the National Junior Championship in 2018, one of the manufacturers had held a talent hunt for road racing.
Okay, so the championship you won in motocross?
Yes, in motocross.
Okay.
And
that's
then,
when this...
Yes, a talent hunt came up.
Okay.
And then I got enrolled. And also for sure I got selected.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was an interesting journey because you are like the Indian Fabio Quartararo, huh? Because even the FIM had to change and make a special, give him special permission, right? Because he was the first person to start racing in Moto3 at the age of 15.
Yes.
And here you were, FMSCI had to issue a special license for you to start racing at the age of what, 12?
12. Yes.
Wow. What was the normal age back then for you to get a racing license? I think it was 18.
I think, yes.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So you must have been quite a special talent.
Yes.
How different was it, for you to switch from motocross, having done motocross, having raced motocross from 6 years of age to road racing? Because everything is very, very different. So how was it for you initially?
So the first couple of months were a little bit harder because in road racing, the speeds are much higher, and then also we need to face a lot of G-force. The lean angles are different, and also everything is different. The race procedure, the rules, and the penalties, everything's just change.
Road racing is completely different, right? Because in motocross, you're leaning the opposite way. In road racing, you're going down with the bike.
Yeah,
because you can carry... I mean, you mentioned speed. Like, how long did it take you? Because in motocross, as exciting with the jumps and everything it is, you're not really carrying that much speed, pure speed. In road racing, especially the bikes that you have been riding, you're going, 200 kilometers an hour. how long did it take you to wrap your head around like such a big increment in terms of speed?
So, it did not take me much longer to get used to that speed, because in motocross, I also practiced dirt track with a bit of longer straights on a dirt track patch. And then, but the speeds are quite different. And yeah, but for me, it did not take a lot of time.
So being able to adapt quickly has always been your secret, yeah? But I would love to know, you started out with riding in the dirt, racing in the dirt, racing supercross. Do you think that experience has also helped you when it comes to your road racing?
It helps a lot. The main thing in road racing is counter steering. And being a motocross racer, counter steering is not a big issue for me.
Because you're sideways all the time.
Yeah, I can slide the motorcycle and I'm not scared at all. So, it also helps me save crashes into road racing, because
You're used to sliding?
yeah, because I'm used to sliding, and I can save high sides a couple of times rather than crashing a lot.
So do you think that has a lot to do with your throttle input as well?
Yes,
Because you
yes.
have to be very measured with your throttle
Right.
inputs in the dirt, and the same applies for road racing as well.
But the thing which I needed to change is my acceleration.
Okay.
So in dirt track racing, like whack open throttle is okay sometimes, but onto the road is quite difficult.
Especially when you're leaned over.
Yes.
You tend to crash quite a bit when you're riding in the dirt.
Yes.
Yeah. How does that affect, or did that have any impact on when you're riding on the road or racing on the road?
So onto the motocross track, we crash a lot of times, and crashing from like jumping and crashing is which we also experience in road racing.
Yeah.
Because
The high
if we-
side.
yeah, if we high side, the bike and the rider, both of them like
Are up in the air.
yeah, are up in the air, and the impact is quite high.
Correct.
So dirt track racing helps me to make sure how do I take the impact, like rolling onto the racetrack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So these are like split-second decisions, changes that you make to your body when you know that you're going to crash.
Yes.
And you're saying that this is also helping you when you find yourself in a similar situation, in a much worse situation, because you're carrying a lot more speed when you're racing on the road, that you actually cocoon your body or
Yes, just like
brace yourself
yeah,
in a
brace
way.
yourself and roll.
Wow, this is pretty insane racing mentality. I think, but that gives you an insight into what gives these guys an edge, in terms of they are also willing to crash and they feel a little bit more easy crashing because they know what to do. And again, remember, these are like split-second decisions. You won't even know how quickly a high side happens unless you're involved in it. So fascinating. This is what I've heard a lot, in terms of riding in the dirt, helping you ride on the road. I myself have been a track junkie for the longest time. I see, all the things which you mentioned in terms of with the rear sliding, you're a lot at ease. My question to you now is, have you ever found yourself in a situation where whatever road racing you have done has actually also helped you ride in the dirt or made you a better dirt rider in some aspect?
It helps quite in like understanding the grip of the machine.
Okay.
So dirt track, I don't like sliding at all, but
Okay.
because we tend to lose time sometimes.
Correct. Interesting.
The smoother we are on the racetrack is what makes us faster. So
So you're actually the
yeah, the
throttle-
acceleration
Interesting.
and
So you're saying that riding on the road, your road racing bike, where you have to be very careful with
Precise,
your
yeah.
throttle inputs, that's also made you a faster rider in
Yes.
the dirt because your throttle inputs are that much more measured. Interesting. What else?
but the disadvantage is the body position.
Yeah.
Both of them require different body positions, and it takes some time to understand.
To readjust.
Yes.
But what about endurance? Because you did mention you were racing in the Asian Championship,
Yes.
right? Where you were, I think, doing what, 15, 16 laps?
Yes. So in the Asian Championships, the races are much longer. 15 laps. riding fast for 30 minutes continuously.
Yeah.
And that is what helps me gain stamina and improve my endurance, because the races here in India are for motocross are maybe just for 5 to 10 minutes. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So you feel having already trained hard to
Yes.
get to that level, to be able to ride at that pace for that long, for 30 minutes,
Yes.
makes riding motocross, which is
Yes,
a much more
much
physically
easier.
demanding sport, easier.
Yes, but I feel only in India, because here in India the races are quite smaller,
Okay.
and the tracks are also much different than the international circuits around.
Okay. So actually road racing has helped you, made it easier for you, like in terms of
Yes.
endurance,
Yes.
to do motocross here.
Yes.
Wow. I would have never thought about that. You're wearing a TVS racing shirt. That smile says everything. Was it? I know you've been racing for a long time, and TVS has been dominating dirt
Yes.
in India for as long as we can remember, as well as road racing. So ever in your mind did you think that you would want to be a TVS factory racer, or like did you have that as an ambition growing up?
TVS being one of the only factory teams in India, it is always a dream of everyone racing here to race for TVS. So it was mine as well, and it took me quite a few times, to reach here. And this is just my second year racing with them.
How was your reaction when you got the call from TVS? I know you were waiting for the call for a long time, especially when you're riding dirt
Yes.
to start off with. But now you just changed your profession in the way you started focusing more on road racing. And here comes a call from the team that you have wanted to join for so long, which is the TVS factory team. How was your reaction when you got that call and when they asked you to race for them?
Oh, so yes, looking on to the opportunities for road racing in India, getting up and getting selected for TVS as a factory rider made me feel very happy, because also, TVS is been dominating the Indian motorsports for a lot of years now. And also MotoGP coming to India, it is a big step, and for sure maybe TVS can have plans racing in Moto3 or any other championships.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We are finally getting some inside information. Fingers crossed. Think about it, right? TVS racing in Moto3. As we keep our fingers crossed, it's already happening though, right? Like I think you have already been involved in so much international racing through
Yes.
TVS, right? In the Asia Road Racing
Right.
Championship. But before we jump into that, I want to go back a little bit with the Indian National Championship, right? Here as a TVS factory rider, you race both the Pro Stock 165
Yes.
and the 300
to 400cc.
400cc.
Yes.
You race both categories.
Both of them.
Which category do you prefer? Which bike do you prefer racing more? Which one do you enjoy more?
I enjoy riding the RR310 the most. Actually, both of them are really good, but the 310 is just more bigger, and as me being a taller rider.
So you're saying not the Pro Stock 165. You're saying the
Yes,
the
the
Pro Stock
300.
Okay. Okay.
The wheelbase is bigger,
Yeah.
and the chances of crashing onto the 300 is very low.
Okay. Okay. Just because it's more stable.
Yeah, more stable, and also it fits me well.
You have grown quite tall over the years. So is it that much more difficult now to fit on the 165?
It is quite difficult because it is a smaller machine.
So in terms of aero,
Yes.
you suffer quite a bit.
Yeah, but still not very slow. It is just maybe 3 or 4 seconds slower than the 300.
Oh wow. So
Yes.
a race prep bike, which is almost twice its capacity, and the 165 is not
Yes.
very far. That's crazy. So that's the Indian scene. Let's talk a little bit more about the bike, the Rocket, which you have been racing in the Asian Road Racing Championship, the TVS One make, which has gone on to record 215.
Yes.
So it's the same 310cc engine,
Engine.
which has been, of course, souped up. Can you tell us a little bit more about the bike? Like what makes it the rocket that it is?
So the RRC bike has got different tires, slick tires
Okay.
from Dunlop,
Nice.
and
Okay.
carbon fiber fairings, different brakes, and some modifications in the engine side.
Okay.
So that is what makes it a bit faster than the Indian spec.
Wow.
And it is also quite stable onto the corners. I feel it is much taller than the Indian bike as well.
So do you think that is more of a race bike, like more like a Moto3 bike, would you say, compared to the Indian spec version, at least in terms of the way it fits you?
Yes. So the weight is quite less.
Uh-huh.
That is one point, and it is not close to a Moto3 machine, but the bike's lower than the Moto3 machines. It is the same level.
Okay.
So if we look at the NSF 250R, it is the same level right now.
Oh, wow.
And maybe in like 1 or 2 years, it will be much faster than the NSF for sure.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That's incredible. I mean, it's interesting, and we can take your word with a lot of belief because you have raced the NSF as well.
Yeah.
So for you to say that this is already, like, the Indian manufacturer have already bridged the gap
Yes.
to a machine, which has long been the stepping stone to Moto3 is absolutely incredible to hear. Now, we switch from that to the electric TVS bike, which a handful of you racers, the top elite racers from India, have been fortunate enough to race. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience to jump from a traditional bike onto an electric race bike? How was that experience?
The electric motorcycle does not have any engine braking at all. So the first time when I rode the machine, it was quite difficult because I tend to break the same braking marker as the CC motorcycle.
Yeah.
So to stop that machine is quite difficult. So
Because it must be a lot heavier
Yes.
as well, right?
A bit heavier, but it still has got carbon fiber rims.
Oh, wow,
fairing.
really?
Yes.
So carbon fiber wheels,
Yes.
carbon fiber fairing.
Fairings, yeah.
And what top speeds do you do on this bike at MMRT?
So I think I clocked 200 kmph.
200
Yes,
at MMRT.
at MMRT.
Okay.
It's quite difficult, cause MMRT being
Yeah.
a compact racetrack with a lot of bumps, it is quite good to have achieved 200.
That's incredible. And what kind of lap timings are you doing on the electric race bike?
So the best lap I could do was of 1 minute 47.3.
Did you say 57 or 47?
47.
1 minute 47.
Yes.
1 minute 47.
1 minute 47.
Okay, just to put things into perspective, for the longest time when I started racing back in the day, Rajni Krishnan, India's foremost and highly successful racer, on a 600cc fully pepped up bike would do a 145. And you're saying that this electric bike
Yes.
is already doing 147. Holy cow.
Yeah.
But you said no engine braking.
No engine
So that was something else. But then, and the bike, of course, with the battery, that potent
Yes.
must be heavy. But then is the bike more difficult to handle, or it has...
Not at all difficult to race.
Wow.
Very stable into the corners. Changing direction is really good. The grip is nice. It feels like racing a super bike. The rear end steps out and we are turning.
So all of that torque on tap
Yes.
actually allows you to power slide out of corners.
And also the acceleration is quite different. So it starts slow, gradually, and once it reaches half of the throttle, it goes as quick
As a super bike.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So did you have a big smile on your face? Because I'm sure you were also, I don't know, what were you expecting when you first got on the electric bike? Did you expect it to be this fast?
Looking at it, I did expect some good lap times, but the first race was quite difficult for me to
Just to
adapt
wrap
to
your
the
head
bike.
around.
Yes.
Okay. But then once you got your head wrapped around how to ride this thing, did it put a smile on your face watching it
for sure.
accelerate?
Yes. Yes.
What tires are you running on this?
So maybe we are running on Pirellis.
Oh, wow. These are Pirelli slicks?
No, not slicks, with grooves.
With grooves.
Yes.
With grooves. And also suspension must be top spec.
Yes, tuned by TVS engineers
Fantastic.
onto our feedbacks which the riders give after each session.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Amen. I, for one, cannot wait to try my hand on this. I don't know if TVS will allow me, but hopefully this guy can put in a word for me. Will you?
For sure, yeah.
So this is TVS Racing. Yeah, this gives you an idea about where TVS Racing is going. Now my question to you is, let's focus a little bit on you in terms of, let's go to the Asia Road Racing Championship, the TVS One Make Championship, which is happening there. How has that experience been for you as a racer? Yeah, you have finally the opportunity to race with international racers, yeah, on international racetracks.
Yes.
How has that experience been as a part of a TVS factory racer?
This is my debut season in the TVS Asia One Make Championship. I raced in the championship last year in Thailand as wild card. And
How did that go?
yeah, so it was quite good. Race 1 I finished 4th.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah.
Your first ever race,
Yes,
4th.
first ever race 4th, and race 2 I finished 3rd. But
Wow.
I had a penalty for track limits onto the last corner. That is why I got demoted to P5.
Okay.
And then the first round was again in Thailand, where I finished P3 in race
This
1.
year.
Yes, this year.
Okay.
And second in race 2.
Wow.
Yes.
So again, just to put things into perspective, this is the first time he's racing against the professionals from other countries like
Yes.
Malaysia,
Malaysia, Japan, Germany,
Germany as well,
Yes.
Indonesia.
Indonesia, and Thailand.
Oh, wow. And these are boys who have obviously been racing at a high
Yes.
level for a long time. Yeah. So before we talk about the races, I want to talk about how do you, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the tracks. So where exactly did you race in Thailand? On which track?
Chang International.
Okay. And was that your very first time?
No, I've been at Chang a couple of times
Okay.
because I raced the Thai Thailand Cup before.
Okay. Were there other new tracks that you have never raced on before as a part of the Asia Road Racing Championship?
So as of this year's calendar, I had not raced on the circuits like in China and the Motegi circuit in Japan.
Wow.
So the results were there on those circuits were not much good, you know. I had a crash in China.
Okay.
And in Motegi, race 1 I finished 6th, but in race 2 I had a penalty again for jump start.
For the very first time racing again competition which is this high, that's still 6 is pretty good, especially for a track that you have never ridden on.
Yes.
How do you prepare when you're going to a track like this that you have never been on? Because again, a lot of these racers must have already been on that racetrack. They already have data. They already know the track very well. How do you adapt to a new track as quickly as you do?
I watched some of the videos from the last year races, and then not just the TVS Asia One Make Championship, but also other categories, because it helps me understand the lines. And you know, Motegi has quite of a elevation, and it is quite different from the tracks which I have raced. I think it is the most technical track I've ever raced on till date.
Wow.
So, and as I went on to race on that circuit, it took me 2 sessions to understand the track.
Okay. But then you were there. You
Yes.
had pretty much dialed in.
Yeah, but if you look at the results, I was always in the top 5 rankings in each and every session.
That's incredible. So now, if you happen to go back on the same tracks again, now that you know the track, now that you know the bike, do you think you will be able to bridge the gap to the top?
Yes. I think so. They are not at all far away from us.
Yeah.
They are quite close, and maybe in the next couple of rounds, I will be there.
Okay. So that brings us to, who do you think is right now the benchmark amongst the Asia Road Racing Championship? Who do you think is the benchmark, and how far do you think you are from them?
So, you know, I feel the Japanese riders are quite strong as of racing in Asia.
Okay.
They have got different techniques, good speed, and a lot of discipline.
Anyone in particular among the Japanese that really stands out for you?
So now there's one racer who had been racing Moto3
Oh, wow.
and also has a couple of podium finishes out there.
Is he Ono?
Yes, he is Hiroki Ono. So,
Wow.
you know,
So you're racing with,
yes.
wow. Okay. I didn't know this. Okay.
So I gave him a good fight in Thailand, but it wasn't as much in China and Motegi.
Okay. So how much, like, let's say you're again on a track which you know very well, and he's also there, and you're on the same bike.
Yes.
what do you think in terms of lap timings? How much of an advantage does he have?
In the qualifying sessions, he is always the fastest, maybe 400 or 500 milliseconds faster.
Wow.
But if we look onto the races, the gap, he cannot just make a good gap, you know.
Right.
All the other racers have him as a reference and follow him.
Okay.
And that is why he cannot make up a good lead or...
So it's even Steven. So
Yes.
it's about half a second.
Yes.
And this is your debut season.
Yes.
And you're already just half a second slower in your debut season
Yes.
against a seasoned Moto3 racer
Right.
who's had podium finishes there.
Yes.
This is music to my ears because this is just the start. This is just the start. That's incredible. So you know the gap is there. How do you intend to close the gap? Like, is there something that you can do in training? Do you think it's more to do with experience? Do you think it's more to do with more exposure to different tracks which will make you faster? What do you think is the trick for you to close the gap?
More training is what I need. I need to work much harder and, you know, stay fit in all the races, not getting tired. That is what I feel is necessary right now.
Mm-hmm.
And also the exposure matters because some of the tracks I have not raced on yet. I feel I should do better, but it just cannot happen.
Yeah.
So the next rounds are on tracks which I am quite familiar to.
And you have been racing there before.
Yes.
So you think you have a much more of a fighting chance
Yes.
on tracks like that.
Yes.
So it's just a question of time and
Time, yeah.
exposure and more experience on the tracks, and you think
Yes.
you can be there. What do you aim for in the future? You've already done insanely well. Yeah, you are the guy right now when it comes to the Indian road racing scene with the opportunities that you have got. Now, with this firmly in your hands, what are your eyes looking forward to in the future? What have you set your sights on?
For the next year, my goal is to win in the Asian Championships. And then later, I would like to race the Moto3, but not just as a wild card or racing for just 1 or 2 races. I want to be there for the complete season and just grow, you know, Moto3 to Moto2 and reach
The
Moto3.
target is always MotoGP.
Yes.
Do you firmly believe that we as Indians, people like you, we have the talent required to put India on the map, even at a stage like MotoGP?
Yes, we do have it. Yeah.
You do have it.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we can end on a more positive note. Thank you so much, Sarthak,
you.
for taking the time to come on Motopod and make this podcast that much more interesting. It has been an absolute pleasure, and we wish you all the very best, and we'll keep obviously a very close eye on your progress.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.